federal judge is saying families of 9/11 victims with claims against the Taliban will not get any of the nearly $4 billion in frozen Afghan assets. The judge's report stated, and I quote, "The Taliban's victims have fought for years for justice, accountability, and compensation. They are entitled to no less, but the law limits what the court may authorize," unquote. The money is part of $7 billion seized by the U.S. from the Afghan central bank. This before the Taliban regained control of the country last year. President Biden determined that half of the funds would go toward helping Afghans, with the other half designated for families who lost loved ones in the September 11th attacks, and they would have to fight for that money in court. CBS News senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge is with us now. So, Catherine, last month you interviewed 77-year-old Bob Essington. He was injured in 1983 when a truck bomb terrorized the U.S. Embassy in Beirut. I want to play a little bit of that conversation.
Essington, a State Department and Vietnam veteran, rarely speaks of the 1983 attack.
It's hard to talk about what happened.
Why is it hard?
I think it's because of all of the friends that I lost.
Now he wants President Biden to acknowledge his story.
I don't care about the total amount that I get or anything like that. It's just his recognition of us, the sacrifices that all of us made.
Catherine, explain how Bob fits into this story and how victims' compensation typically works.
Well, Major, back in 2015, Congress created a terrorism victims compensation fund. It's funded through fines and penalties, and since 2015, it's paid out about $3 billion to victims of terrorism just globally who are American citizens. But when this Afghan money was frozen a year ago by the Biden administration, the process was different. They deviated from this congressionally mandated process.
And is that deviation important? And is that deviation basically leaving some Americans who might otherwise have qualified out in the cold or having to fight on some other legal front?
Well, the deviation was significant. There was an executive order that was signed by President Biden earlier this year that took the Afghan funds and it split it in half. About $3.5 billion was earmarked for Afghan aid, and the other $3.5 billion was left to a New York court to decide claims by victims of terrorism. Specifically, there's a small group of 9/11 families who have claims against the Taliban. And what they've been trying to do is attach their claims to those frozen Afghan funds so they can be paid out. People like Bob Essington, who was badly injured in a terrorism attack in the 1980s by a group that's connected to Iran. He and others have said, hundreds actually wrote to the White House and said, wait a second, we should really share all the money equally. That's been the central principle of this compensation fund, and this time really should be no different.
Meaning that the Taliban money should go into this broader fund.
Correct.
And that's what historically has happened, but so far isn't. Does that mean that those who are direct victims of 9/11 have better access to this fund, these funds?
Well, with the judge's decision or recommendation, what they've said is that they just don't feel that the 9/11 victims, a small group of victims, can attach their claims to the funds. They say this would be the court acknowledging that the official government of Afghanistan is the Taliban. And due to the separation of powers, that's not a call that can be made by the U.S. courts. That can only be made by the president himself. So the courts have said for now that there will be no access to the frozen funds by these 9/11 families or any other terrorism victims at this point.
So the natural question arises, Catherine, if you can answer it, is this the final word?
Well, it's not really, actually. This judge's recommendation is subject to review, but it will be a pretty steep legal hill to climb in order to make the case that these claims should be paid out from the frozen Afghan funds. Lawyers who work in this area have told me in the past that typically there's a congressional fix. They pass some legislation which takes the money, the fines or the penalties, in this case it would be frozen assets, and it directs it into this compensation fund for all U.S. victims so that it could be divided equally among all of them.
And perhaps Congress will step up. Catherine Herridge, thanks so very much.
You're welcome.